Was that really plastered on?
Now.
Did you Photoshop this?
No, this is real.
Are you for real?
Delon, this is real.
The thing about Lizzo is she's like this body positivity. I love myself. He hurt me, but bitch, it don't matter. And what happens when you're an artist, especially a musician, I think you do have to give us something different.
Who was fired by the University of Tennessee over her Charlie Kirk remarks. She has won a $1.9 million settlement from the university.
You shut your mouth.
Let me fix it.
Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says...
does my white ass need to say it?
I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm an actress. I'm a producer. I'm a comedian, a social media strategist.
And I'm Delon Grant. I'm an actor, a singer, writer, photographer, and an educator. And that question needs to be asked often, I think.
More of y'all should be asking that question. And I want to say thank you to Marvella, who suggested that we use that clip as this week's tagline. I'm going to keep you on your toes, Delon. You're never going to know what kind of tagline is going to hit you.
I said this last week. You are setting yourself up because, like, I know you are ready to accept the challenge and you are going to win every time. But, like, girl,
I'm
you have to
it.
keep,
I know. I set myself up with that one, but I'm figuring it out. In class, we would love your help when it comes to taglines. You can email us, letmefixitpod@gmail.com. Send us a voice note or send it to us as text or drop it right here in the comments, and we might include your tagline here on the show.
And also, I would like to add, I know we keep talking about your secrets. We want your dirty, deep, and darker secrets. But if you have a situation, like you are great about sending us TV shows, suggestions. Oh,
Delon.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my nipples are hard.
Now be careful because I might clip that. And then I'm going to start.
I mean, listen, the number of people that have talked about the last one, I went to a friend's show yesterday. I went to another event this week and people were like, oh my God, you scream laughing. I was like, she gets me every time. So I'm prepared.
Oh my gosh. Well, yes. So Delon has asked for secrets, but you can also ask us for some advice. So we do have one for this week's comments from the class. Very excited to dig into that. But why don't we kick things off with a headline? Delon, how about you go first?
Great, Fran. Some good news. Have you heard that one of the first people suffering from sickle cell anemia has been relatively cured?
I did hear about this.
Yeah, and they're calling it like functionally cured, which I'm not really sure what that means. I did read a little bit of an article about it, but it means like, currently for all intents and purposes, the way this man's body is functioning, he doesn't have sickle cell disease, but they don't know that it won't come back, right? So they're going to have to monitor him the rest of his life. His name is Daniel Cressy. He's 23 years old, and one of the reasons this is a really big deal for Daniel is that he wanted to become a commercial pilot. And because of the way sickle cell attacks your body, class, if you don't know what sickle cell anemia is, it's a blood disease. And it's like our red blood cells are kind of shaped like a circle.
And they're like the wrong shape.
They're like
or
almost like a half or like a crescent moon almost, right? Mm-hmm. So they get clotted in our blood and you can get hospitalized. They cause a lot of fatigue and even early death, right? So this is like a huge deal for him. And now he can try to become a commercial pilot, which is great. So go ahead, Daniel.
Because I'm guessing with like the elevation or something, it's not safe.
The thinning of the blood, but also because you don't know when the disease is going to make you have a fatigue fit or need to be hospitalized.
Flying or something.
He could be flying. It could happen. And like there's a co-pilot and there's a lot of things that happen with commercial airlines that like a lot of guardrails, right? To make sure that people stay safe. But if you have one of the pilots go down, like, you know what I mean? They can't take that risk as an airline, as a commercial venture. But one of the reasons I also wanted to bring this up, Fran, is because here go my politics. I think like this is the shit that I've said for years when it comes to billionaires, when it comes to money, when it comes to being the richest country in the world. How have we not cured cancer? I know that people are talking about an AIDS cure, that they're the beginnings of that. They've been talking about like a herpes cure, right? So like there are a lot of things that they are trying to cure. But the reason that this cure came about is because of CRISPR. Do you remember this? It's a gene therapy where they class. If you know more about this, please get in the comments because they will let us know. I'm not a scientist, but it's my very rudimentary understanding that this gene therapy is they take some of the genes out and then they use CRISPR to like reorient them, and it's biological, and they put it back in the body, and then it helps the body kind of fight the disease, right?
Now,
Or reconfigure the disease.
A CRISPR sounds like something you put like lettuce in or something. Like you know what I mean?
Is.
You're like,
is
that what it is? Like,
yeah, in your
making
fridge.
a salad. Grab the CRISPR. That's what they're
now
using?
It's more like you have AIDS. Let me get my CRISPR, right?
That's what they're putting it in.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
yeah. So this is just really cool, and I really was excited about, and wanted to bring some positive news, right?
We need
this is
yeah.
really beautiful. That this very young man, he's 23 years old, like I said, from Louisiana, is getting this opportunity and kind of like a new lease on life, you know? So go ahead, Jane. I'm really, really excited about that.
I love that. And I want to just pull a thread. That's a very Delon-ism. Just the fact that like we do have so many billionaires who seem to be so self-obsessed. It's like, put your money towards something like this. And then when they come up with the cure, slap your name on it. You know what I mean? Call it the so-and-so shot. You know, like,
call it the grant, okay? Delon Grant.
Right. I just feel like that's like a win-win for everybody.
Well, and also like the moral and like the moral, not cachet is not the right word, but if you do something like that and your name's on it, we might forgive that you're a fucking billionaire. We might go, you know what? That's Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a great example. Now he's having some skeletons coming out of the closet as of late.
But you know, Melinda. But we'll give Melinda some of that credit because his wife has been a champion for a lot of things, or his ex-wife.
Right.
Yeah, they've done a lot of positive things.
Giving a lot of money away.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What's yours, Fran?
Well, speaking of billionaires, did you hear your girl got married this past weekend?
Oh,
they're calling
my girl.
it.
My
yeah,
girl.
your girl, long back.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Missed Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got married this past 4th of July weekend at Madison Square Garden. And the discourse, honestly, I'm exhausted by the discourse. I'm curious if you've heard any of it, Delon, because you're not as chronically online as I am. But the girls are fighting about this wedding.
I mean, well, because you know her fans, right? And I can't help but feel like she's sitting back and loving it because she doesn't do anything. I mean, I heard some of this. The things that I didn't enjoy that I heard is that, you know, they had to get all these permits and they shut down parts of New York City for this fucking wedding. I get it. Like
they closed 5 streets surrounding Madison Square Garden on a holiday weekend during the World Cup. Okay, so this is like a huge high traffic time. And of course, Madison Square Garden is on top of, I think, is it Penn Station?
Penn Station. Yeah.
Penn Station is one of the busiest subway stations in New York. Okay. It's like New Jersey Transit goes through there, the PATH train, Amtrak, the PATH train, like a lot of people who, you know, need to get in and out of the city, either for family or for work. It's like a huge impact. And there were a number of small businesses that actually took to social media to say, hey, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, I wish y'all had written us a check because we didn't get any foot traffic during what is supposed to be a supremely busy time for us. Like there was a local bar, for example, that offered that they could maybe be like a holding area for the bride and groom's family as a way to kind of be like, hey, if we're not going to get any business, could you at least buy us out for the night?
Right.
And they didn't get a response. So that was one of the things that people were, you know, kind of upset about. But then what's interesting about the fans is when it was announced that it was Madison Square Garden where the wedding was going to be held, there was all the speculation that it wasn't really going to be there. And this idea of like, well, she has to have it there because she needs privacy. And
there's
you know,
no windows.
There's no windows and the helicopters can fly around. And it's like, yeah, but celebrities can get privacy if they really want it. Like,
absolutely.
Like, Zendaya just got married and we ain't seen no pictures of that. You know what I mean? Like lots of celebs. I just feel like you can't have it both ways. Like either you want to have a giant spectacle, which is totally your right, or you want to have something private. And honestly, I don't know how you can have a private event with 1,000 people there. 1,000 people were at this wedding. That's not really intimate. You can't, I mean, I know you're famous, but like, do all 1,000 of those people have your cell phone number? Are y'all real tight like that?
I mean, I think it's part and parcel of what we've said on the pod before about Taylor, and they're going to come for us. But like, she's really good at being the victim. She's really good at being like, oh, well, I need privacy. Oh, well, why is everyone mad at me? It's just my wedding. It's just on 4th of, yes, it's 4th of July weekend, but it's just for, oh my God, was that really plastered on?
Now.
Did you Photoshop this?
No, this is real.
Are you for real?
Dawn, this is real. Not only was this outside, which first of all, design is terrible. People thought this was an AT&T ad.
It does look like. It does look like.
And then in the subways, they had
my
congrats
fucking
on
God.
Forever. Now, 13 is Taylor Swift's lucky number, and 87 is Travis Kelce's football number, then equals 100. This was all over the subways. This looks like it was made in Canva. I love Canva, but like this does not give luxury.
Well, and you know what it also doesn't give? It also doesn't give private. It also doesn't give, I need to like not be seen.
Respect my privacy. Right. And also I need these giant signs everywhere for people to know that we got married.
She's really good at like strategically centering herself and also being like, but what do you mean? I'm just a girl. I'm just like out here just trying to live my life and everyone hates me for it. No, everyone actually loves you for it because if you have an army of warriors that will come on the internet and cut people down, talking about hurting people. Like,
and the other thing that is annoying is a lot of times when you talk about Taylor Swift, either it's, her being a billionaire or her not, saying anything when Donald Trump uses her music in an ad, for example. The White House put out something kind of mimicking her Eras tour leading up to the wedding, and she has not said anything about it, which she's, that's her right to do. But there's always this insistence of like, people are unfairly targeting her over others. Victim. I saw a lot of people saying, well, y'all didn't say anything about Jeff Bezos' wedding. That's not true.
Did.
That's not true. That's not.
What are you talking about? That was the
y'all
talk
didn't care about
the week.
Hello? Or like I saw people saying, if you're upset that Taylor's a billionaire and you haven't said anything about Elon, then you're a sexist. It's like lots of people have said that Elon Musk should not be a trillionaire. Like y'all are being willfully obtuse.
Yeah.
And it's just like people are allowed, the thing that I said on Threads.
Class, okay. Just
what
so
does it mean? What does it mean?
Blindly ignorant. Willfully obtuse. Blindly ignorant or unwilling to see.
Let me just Google, because I think of obtuse as like a triangle when you're in the angle. You have an obtuse angle.
Oh, is that obtuse or is it isosceles?
No, isosceles.
Come on, that was a good joke. God.
Oh, sorry.
Intelligent joke.
Obtuse describes something that is dull, blunt, or slow to understand. And it also is an angle measuring between 90 and 180 degrees. So I think of it as the degree, meaning like you are really just like playing like, oh, I'm looking I'm over here. Yeah. It's like, no. It's not about all of that. We're talking about this one specific thing.
And when you say willfully obtuse, that's what makes me go, you're blindly.
You're doing this on purpose.
You're doing it on purpose. Yeah.
You're doing this on purpose.
Ignorant. Yep.
There were a few things I wanted to call out. Let me say something positive here.
Oh.
For her wedding invitations, I thought this was very clever. Every invitation had a watermark of the guest's name on it. So if you took a picture of it, we would know who fucking leaked their invitation. Isn't that smart?
That's very smart.
I thought that was very clever. She said, y'all not about to put this invitation online.
I mean, also, was it a digital one?
Or no, like the app,
Photoshop though. I'm sure somebody should Photoshop it if they really wanted to.
Yes, but I think the point is kind of like when you get an audition, right? And your name is watermarked on your sides. Like, sure, if you wanted to go through the trouble of taking your name off of it, but they could, by power of elimination, I'm sure they could figure out, like, let me see what time it was posted and whatever. One thing I did think was really weird is they put out as a party favor, like a handkerchief with their initials on it, and a monogrammed initials. But then there was also a quote from one of Taylor Swift's songs. It says, "So it's going to be forever ... which is a lyric from Blank Space. Do you know that song, Delon?
I don't know her.
It's a cute little song. The song is about how Taylor Swift dates too many men, and she's going to make a list of men, and she'll have a blank space available for the next man. So the song goes, so it's gonna be forever or it's gonna go down in flames.
Oh, I do know that song.
Why would you have that on your wedding favor? That just seems like a weird.
I mean, maybe it holds true. It's either going to be forever or it's going to go down in flames. I can't blame her that. I can't begrudge her that.
But why would you want to think about it going down in flames
reality.
on the
She's
wedding
just trying to
day?
be realistic, you know. You know what I want to see? I want to see that prenup, because you know there's a lengthy,
because you
prenup.
know it was ironclad.
Oh God, that's why it took so long to get married. Oh shit.
You know what? And let me just say here, as a divorcee that doesn't have nary the amount of coins as Miss Tay Tay does, I salute you, ma'am. And that thing had better be locked down.
She said the 10 Commandments etched in. Okay.
You know what? Because listen, I'm not gonna lie. I will be here for Taylor's lemonade era. She gonna give us a lemonade stand,
especially if she's talking about it going down in flames. She's I mean, this is Miss Cleo over here making predictions.
I'm sorry. Like, again, I have many side eyes for her. Truthfully, there are some songs of hers that I like. You know, I like a shy white girl.
Do.
Listen, I'm not gonna apologize. I will not sit here and say she doesn't have some songs that I like.
Apologize.
Yeah. No, I caught that one. I caught that one. Yes. So yeah, I just think that she's kind of playing the line of like, remember in Christina Aguilera in Beautiful when she's like, "Don't look at me."
Oh my God,
don't look at me.
Great example of Taylor's like public persona. Yes. Don't look at me, but look at me, right?
But it's also like my hair is perfect and I've got a red lip on and I'm
every
like,
spotlight is on me, but please don't look at me. Please don't totally.
Yeah. And I would rather, look, she's a celebrity, but I would rather she own it than try to play both sides in this respect. I guess I am speculating, and you tell me if you agree, that she's going to give us a concert film of this wedding. Oh, why else did she do it in Madison? It's going to be,
it was for the fans. Yeah, oh God, it's all about money. It's for the fans. It's
you
special
guys
release.
Were part of my fairy tale.
It's 17 different covers like she did on the last album. Yeah, it's a grift. It's a grift.
Yeah, and it's going to be on Disney Plus, and it's going to be like a multi-part, and you're going to see her getting ready, and you're going to see her getting fitted, and there's going to be childhood photos and videos interspersed and all that other stuff. Like, yeah, I who knows, but I won't be surprised if this turns into a documentary or something.
Well, and you know what? Let me say this. I went to see the Renaissance film as y'all, the fans of Taylor Swift, went to go see the Eros film. I loved every minute of it.
Sure did.
And if you are a fan of who you are a fan of, so I don't know that I'm watching Beyonce's marriage video, but if they had some music on there, if they had some bop.
I mean, she had, when she did didn't Beyonce do a documentary where she had some wedding clips in there? I forget what it was.
She did do an HBO documentary. Yeah, that was when she stopped speaking to the public and then she just started putting out movies. Yes.
Yeah, and she showed us some, the first time she was pregnant, and she showed like her and Jay-Z and whatever. Like, again, I'm not opposed to it. I think it's kind of the like, you do either or. And I think this idea of like, it's wrong to talk about her. It's like, she's a celebrity. She wants us to talk about her. Like,
she wouldn't do this shit if she didn't. But back to that point. She would, she would have went and got married on Epstein's Island some damn where if she didn't want us to talk about it.
But it makes me think of like a Kerry Washington. I don't know her children. I've never seen her children before.
Not a picture.
Don't know their names. Like, there's a lot of celebs that are very, private about when they get seen, and it's the difference between going to certain restaurants where the paparazzi are at and having a private chef at your home, or shutting down the whole restaurant and going through the back and having dinner there and just not being seen. Again, inconvenient, sure, but like, that's the price you pay. Like,
right, it is. That's a trade-off for the billionaire status. If you
absolutely
ask me,
all right, well, let's move into the fix. Class, if you are new here, we try to do a segment every episode that stays true to the title of the show, Let Me Fix It, where we bring different stories from the world or our personal lives that we want to talk about, and then we would like to pitch a fix. Delon, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so this is a little bit of comments from the class as a fix, right? So we got this comment, which you might have seen, Fran, from Dreamweaver213. They say, can y'all do an episode on all this uproar about Lizzo's failing album sales, I saw a creator giving her opinion on what she should have done for the press tour, and it reminded me of Jessica Lee's advice for creatives. Would love to hear y'all's thoughts on whether or not her downfall is indeed that bad, or if it's being blown out of proportion. I'm going to take this a little bit and focus it kind of on the latest album, Bitch,
Okay.
right? Which
yes.
I listened to it, so you all didn't have to. But this is also like I think part of what Dreamweaver is getting at is that, like, why are the album sales so weak? Listen, Spotify and streaming have fucked up everything. And like streaming's fucked up everything. So you've probably heard many a musician on social media talking about how they can't make money from streams. That's not, it's concert sales now. It's
and how TikTok has ruined everything because the songs are shorter and people are ripping songs and doing remixes and stuff. And it's just harder.
It's like impossible, right?
Yeah.
So there's that she's contending with already. But in listening to the album, I thought, the thing about Lizzo is she's like this body positivity. I love myself. He hurt me, but bitch, it don't matter. Like really prideful brand, right? And what happens when you're an artist, especially a musician, I think you do have to give us something different. And she's had two albums now where she has not evolved. And this latest album is giving the same thing. Like it's kind of generic music. It's kind of like, it's all derivative. It's like, I've heard this, either Lizzo had a song like this before, or it's like an 80s rock ballad where somebody did it better. Or it's like literally a remake of, what's that woman? I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a drug.
Meredith Brooks.
Meredith Brooks. It's a remake of Meredith Brooks' song, Bitch, but like Meredith Brooks' song is better, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know where to place her. Lyrically, specifically, it's not interesting, And the thing, my fix for her is the thing that I think would have helped immensely, aside from the actual like press tour part of it, just content. I think we needed something more vulnerable. We needed something more specific. We needed her Lemonade album. Not that she's in a relationship. Actually, you know what? Not
she is in a relationship. She is in a relationship.
Engaged? And then she was engaged for a minute.
I don't think they're engaged. I know her boyfriend. He's also a comic. We've been on some shows together.
Okay.
I don't know that it's, but I agree with you in the like, I don't think we really know who she is. And I think we would be remiss to not address also the elephant in the room. She has these ongoing lawsuits. And while one of them was dismissed, the other one is still ongoing. And I just feel like when I see her, and I'm going to be totally honest here, I'm choosing my words very carefully here. Because I know her. We're not super close, but like we know each other. Yeah. And again, because I know her boyfriend, we've performed together. And it's like that really changed how people felt about her. And a lot of the press that I've seen her doing around this album, she talks a lot about how streaming has changed and the radio has changed. And all of those things are true. But it's like also people's perspective of you has changed. And so there are a lot of people who are like, I don't want to listen to her music anymore.
Well, and a part of that is because the brand was so positive. The brand was so bubbly and all American. And it made, dare I say, white people feel better about racism, about support, right?
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. But I think the other thing that I would say, like getting back to the content of the music, to drag in those lawsuits, why wasn't there some like covert, like subliminal messaging about, you don't have to talk about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if her team told her not to do that, which
but even still, great example. I can't remember it's on Beyonce album, but she talks about how many $1 billion on the elevator, addressing what happened in the elevator.
Yes.
Very smart.
Some shit goes down when there's $1 billion in the elevator.
Very simple, very, you know what I mean? You don't have to say people's names, but
it's a little wink.
But because it reminds us that, like, hey, I know the shit that's been said about me in the press, and I'm still dealing with it. But instead of just like glossing it over and saying it's over, you know what I mean? Because the brand is a little sullied because of it.
And I think your other point about like getting vulnerable, I think maybe it's not necessarily like directly addressing it, but like the realities of like people thinking different things about you that maybe aren't true. And like, maybe that's a very specific experience, but something that Delon always says is the specific is universal, right?
Yes.
Like everybody knows what it's like to be misunderstood and to feel like there's a narrative about you that you can't change. Like that's just like, unfortunately, a common experience.
Right.
And I think that kind of some music that felt more honest and self-reflective rather than I'm a bad bitch, I don't care what anybody says about me, like that just feels very posturing. I also want to say she was part of the Lauryn Hill tribute, and she sang doo-wop, and she sounded great. And as soon as she came out, I was like, that's the style she should be exploring. It's like, because I think she sounds great when she does like a throwbacky type of stuff that feels, kind of like Mark Ronson. Like remember like the Valerie song, like that style, like like put her with a big band.
Yeah,
and like
she's a big instrument.
Yeah, or I saw somebody else say this, give us a flute album. Like you love that flute.
She starts this album with like a really kind of, I forget what the name of the track is, but it's like a really I think it's called Toast. It's like kind of strings and classical kind of acoustic. And I heard a little bit of the flute in there, but to your point, I want to hear you tear down that flute. You and I went to the concert years ago. I forget that before I left New York. Yeah. And that flute came out every other number. She was twiddly-doing on that damn thing. So I hear you on that. I just we don't know who she is. It feels like, to use your phrase, it feels like she's posturing. And we've seen it now in 2 albums, and I want something more. At one point, she was rhyming like head, said, bed, dead. I was like, girl, this is Dr. Seuss over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where's the complexity? Again, that's where it gets to the generic. There wasn't complexity in lyric. It wasn't personal. And the music sounds like, not for nothing, like it sounds like anywhere. It sounds like you can get it anywhere. I mean, Jason, and this is not fair to compare her to Beyonce, but Beyonce just dropped a new song, a new single. Yes. I don't know if you listened to that.
It's actually a re-release of an old song that she has kind of like spun. The donkey, 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 donk, that song.
Yeah, that makes sense because it does feel like an older version of Beyonce, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It's not my jam, but I'm waiting for whenever the actual music does come out. But like, I just feel like Beyonce is really great at reinventing it. Even that song has complexity when it comes to the sonics. You're listening to it, and there's a lot of stuff happening. It's just like, not on Lizzo's album. But again, there also, I just want to say, credit where's credit's due. I know I'm being very critical. There are some bops. I mean, there was what was something about that girl was a bop, and Happy to Be Me was a bop. I was like, I'm not gonna remember it, but it was boppy, step my toe.
You know who I would love to see her work with is Linda Perry. She wrote Beautiful, and she's the 4 Non-Blondes, and I said, hey. I just feel like in that, and she's written a lot of songs for Pink. I feel like it's in that same like moms taking their kids to school and they need to feed exactly what I mean. They in the minivan and there's no curse words.
That is not where I feel like that's old Lizzo's brand. If she's working with Linda, I think she needs to it needs to get dirty. I shaved my pubes yesterday.
No.
Right?
No. I think
not that dirty, but you know what I mean.
I
like
think
raw,
it can,
real.
I think it can still be raw and still be real and still have like an empowerment feel to it, but still feel a little bit more vulnerable. But again, I think until this lawsuit stuff is cleared up, I think it's also worth just taking a beat. You know what I mean? Like, I think you have to unfortunately accept that like some people just aren't going to rock with you. And that if you decide to pivot, that like you're going to have to build a new audience and you're going to have to like rebuild trust. And she hasn't really addressed it. I mean, she made a statement when the first case got dismissed, but it was very vague. Like she was on TikTok holding up these signs and it just felt kind of flippant. Like, given like the substance of the lawsuit, it just, I don't know. I was kind of like, either say nothing or like really talk to us. It was like holding a sign like my name's been cleared. Just felt like, ooh, are you taking this seriously?
I mean, write that song, but have it be about something different. That's what I mean about an Easter egg, right?
Mm-hmm.
My name's been cleared, but like you're talking about something else. I think that's really smart.
And I hate to say it, Taylor is great at that.
Oh,
she
God.
loves to take shots at the paparazzi and
Everybody.
You know,
The snake era was her hinting at Kim Kardashian, stabbing her in the back, and Reputation and Bad Blood was all about her and Katy Perry.
Get us going. Is she talking about? Are you talking about?
Is this
what
about?
are you talking about? Get the sleuths online really talking. And I do think you'll bring us along with you. Like intrigue. Intrigue is really interesting. I was going to say one other thing about her before we move on. What was it? Gone. Dang.
Well, maybe you'll remember it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens here. And I mean, I think, you know, whatever happens with this lawsuit, I mean, if she is found liable and she takes care of it, like, I think that there is a world where she talks about it in an honest way and like potentially takes accountability for like where she messed up or how she's going to move forward. That could get some people to say like, okay, I feel like this works. But I feel like you kind of can't dance around the elephant in the room and then blame everybody else but yourself for like why the audience is not connecting with you. So it's like a multi-layered thing. It's like the lack of evolution, it's the lawsuits, it's the kind of surface level music.
Yeah.
I also just think that like that style feels really dated. Like it you know?
At this point, I think it's at this point in her career, though, right?
Yeah.
At this point, like it's like Sabrina Carpenter. I don't really know her music that well, coming out with the same kind of music that she already did. You know what it is? It's Sam Smith playing that same old sad "Love Me" song instead of doing "Unholy." "Unholy" was like, oh damn you, and that
whoa, this is really different.
Why do you be when you lied to me? All of a sudden, he's like sexy, and we're like, ooh, she's really arrived, right? It's that.
Yeah. I would put Adele in that too. Like she hasn't
1000%.
made the same album over and over again. And I think it's also like giving yourself time, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like granted, It's About Damn Time was really blowing up during like the pandemic, which was not that long ago, but it just feels like the block is a little hot. You just need to take a beat and like really figure out what you want to say.
I wonder too, though, if you know what her deal is with her record company, because if she had to have, if it's like a 3-record deal or something, and maybe she's just trying to, this might be just like, hey, let's just get this done because that's part of the deal. They've already paid me for it, and so I'm obligated to do it. That could be part of why it popped out too. But again,
maybe. She's
I'm,
talked a lot about that she felt like the record label was not supporting her, and
age-old story, girl.
Yeah, and I couldn't figure out how much of that was, and again, it makes me think like, are they not supporting you because they don't like the music, or they're not supporting you because they feel like you're kind of damaged goods right now? Like, let's be honest about like why that is. It could be that they're being unfair to you, but like, again, it just feels like it feels like she's dancing around like the way that the public's perception has changed, in addition to the lack of sonic growth in her music.
Agreed. Last thing, wrapping up, I do wish her well, though. You know, again, I was that About Damn Time album. I was all about it. You know, we went to the concert.
Yeah, we did.
Banging ass time. It was a good time.
Yeah.
So I hope that, you know, that something's turned around from her. And if you're watching, Lizzo, I mean, maybe you take some of this advice. I know she's not, but you know.
She could be. She's been doing the podcast rounds. Okay, so this is an email from Beja, and it says, "Hey teachers, I'm writing to get some perspective on a toxic dynamic with a male peer in my department who's a few years younger than me. During my first 2 weeks on the job, he tried to hit on me. I was going through a divorce and I lacked the capacity for a relationship, but ever since the rejection, his ego has flipped and he's unleashed a toxic, narcissistic attitude towards me. He lectures me on work. He talks so loudly over me. I've told him countless times to not speak over me. And he says, that's just the way it is, baby."
Wait,
Worst
what?
of all, he exploits people's boundaries and plays innocent since he knows that I dislike people crowding my space. He will intentionally stand too close to me and then play dumb. As the only woman in the department, it feels incredibly targeted. I am currently trying to use the gray rock method to protect myself, but maintaining a long-term in close quarters department is incredibly exhausting. I've tried addressing it directly with him with no luck. I brought it up to management. How do I successfully deal with this narcissist and protect my peace over the long haul? Ooh.
What is this gray stone method? I've never heard of this.
Gray rocking. So this
Gray
is
rocking.
a method. Gray. Let me look up the definition of it. But it's the idea that when someone says something nasty to you, you kind of don't give them the response that they're looking for. So when they're kind of like poking at you and being nasty, you don't give them the outsized anger or defensive response that naturally might come to you. You know, when someone says something like, "Ooh, I could never wear something like that. Man, that is very tight." You might say, "Yeah, you wouldn't wear something like this." You couldn't. You don't go like, "Wow, that was really rude," or like that. Like you don't act offended. You just kind of like shut it down. It is this says it's a defense. Gray rocking is a defensive communication strategy used to deal with manipulative, narcissistic, or high conflict individuals. By becoming as uninterested and emotionally unresponsive as a dull gray rock, you starve the other person of the emotional reactions and drama they feed on, encouraging them to disengage. So Dewan, do you want to chime in first, or do you want me to chime in? Because I have many thoughts.
I mean, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that you're dealing with this. Unfortunately, these types of nasty people inhibit many areas of our life, including the workplace. The first thing I would tell you to do, that I tell everybody, is to start a paper trail. You need documentation of how this person has been behaving. So when he says or does something that's inappropriate or makes you feel uncomfortable, instead of going straight to management, you need to send an email to him and copy management and copy HR and say, tell him, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable with this thing that you're saying," but then document what happened. "Hey, just following up on the situation that happened today. I really didn't feel comfortable when you said X, Y, and Z. Moving forward, I'd prefer if you did blah, 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 blah." I'm also copying management and HR. The reason that I'm instructing you and anybody else class that is having problems at work to do this is, God forbid the company decide to retaliate and fire you, you have a paper trail that you could take to a lawyer. Because ultimately what ends up happening is your word against theirs. This is something that he did. This is something that was said. And if you don't have a trail to say, here's the proof, it gets very difficult to actually, prove what happened. So, you might want to sit down, and if you can go through your emails or go through your phone and find reminders of dates and times of things that have happened. So you can put together an email and you can say, on this date, this happened, on this date, this happened, on this date, this happened. I would really like to find a solution, because this is creating an environment where I'm not able to get my work done. I'm not feeling comfortable. Again, making it solution oriented, I think will be really helpful. In the event you need to take further action, because the way that he is treating you is absolutely inappropriate. And, if you need to go speak to an employment attorney, I think that might be the move.
Yeah, and letting HR know too. I think HR works for the organization.
The company.
They work for the company. So HR is automatically going to file that and automatically going to flag it. I do want to also bring up, I completely understand that it sounds like you are the only female employee in this, at least this office.
Yeah.
And so again, I don't function in the world as a woman, but I can only imagine, being in relationship with a lot of them, that there's automatically discomfort there with speaking up, because then
he tried to hit on her.
Yeah,
he tried to hit on her like right when they started working together,
because they you don't want to be, nobody wants to be the problematic one, right? And to Fran's point, I do think like being solution oriented is really, really smart, and obviously documenting everything. Fran loves a receipt, love. But I do want to empathy is the name of this episode for me. I do want to be empathetic about how you might feel as a woman functioning in that space. And I will say, again, I don't know what that feels like, but you have every right to speak up, and you absolutely should continue to speak up no matter what. I think it's a matter of how far you want to take it, because if, like Fran said, if there is retaliation involved, or potentially, that's probably something you're thinking about and something you're fearful of. So I want to encourage you to, I mean, the workforce is what the workforce is, but even if you have to get another job, speak up for yourself, because even if this situation, God forbid, goes the way you don't want it to, you will be braver in the next situation, right? You will have more of a, you will start recording things earlier, right? So I would encourage you to keep doubling down on what you're already doing, and to make the situation work for you, because you're clearly in the right, you know, as difficult as it sounds like it is.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the thing that jumped out at me was, you know, he tried to hit on you, and you said that you didn't have the capacity for a relationship, which I understand, but like, that is fraternization is against most company policies. You're not supposed to have romantic relationships with the people that you work with.
Or you're supposed to let the people know. You're supposed to let your bosses know when you do.
Yeah, it's very unprofessional, and it potentially, you know, the phrase "don't shit where you eat," right? Like if you start a romantic relationship and then things go south, then y'all are getting in fights at work and blah blah blah. So, you know, it's usually not advised to start a romantic relationship with somebody in the workplace. So he started out the gate acting inappropriately,
right.
And the fact that he is now retaliating against you, and it has escalated to this place that he is, you know, talking down to you and crowding your personal space, and management's not doing anything about it. Again, you need to go through your emails and through your phone and find out the exact date that you actually said something to management, and you need to put that in writing in the email. You need to say, I brought this up to you. As you remember, I brought this up to you on X, Y, Z, and date, and it was not figured out. I would like to get this fixed.
Yeah.
Because, you know, without telling all my business, I have taken legal action because people have not treated me fairly in the workplace. And I won. And, you know, a big part of that was having documentation to say, here is what happened. Because, and this is why, and I've said this a bajillion times before, you have to cover your ass, because it turns into their word against mine. And this person has acted inappropriately. And if you send that one email with all of the dates and the whatever, but the next time it happens, you send an immediate one. And you go to HR, because Delon is correct. HR's job is to protect the company. But if there is a documented pattern of somebody in the company treating you badly, the company is going to go, we need to get rid of this person.
And HR has a not fiduciary, but has a responsibility, because in theory they work for the company, but, you know, optics wise, we're here for you. Yeah. We're here to help you. So they have a responsibility to do something. And again, that might be trying to push you out, but like, even still, like,
but if they push you out, you have legal recourse to say, I was treated unfairly. This person sexually harassed me. This person demeaned me. This person made it hard for me to do my job. And then I said something about it, and y'all tried to punish me. Write the check.
The other thing I want to say is, again, like Fran said, I'm really sorry you're going through this. Girl, I hope you have a therapist. If you do not have a therapist, I hope you have some really good friends that you can lean on to unpack this shit, because the idea that you're dealing with it alone is terribly difficult. It's really, really hard to be dealing with this alone, especially if you feel like you've tried to address it in a responsible, kind, generous way, and it's not being received well, and it's not stopping. I hope you have some way to take care of yourself that feels productive.
Yeah. Do you have a comment from the class, Delon?
No, I shared mine. Mine was about Lizzo. Again, Lizzo, I hope you're doing all right, girl.
All right, so now it's time for the Glow Up, everyone's favorite segment where we give props to those who've turned themselves around without our help. Delon, do you want to go first?
Sure. This week, I'm going to give it to myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And why? I feel like Fran and I were talking over the holiday weekend. Happy 4th of July. I hope you all had a good time. I was trying to stay in and do a bunch of work, which I did. But then like the universe, it always works like this. 17 people were like, come here, come here, come here, come here. And I got to a point where I did go out and I did have a good time, but I kind of got a little bit of FOMO before that. And it was like really immense. You and I talked about this. Yeah. And it was like overtaking my brain. I was like, I just have to go out. I just have to go out. And I sat there on the beach, on the water with some friends, and I just kind of like meditated on friendship and on time and on what's valuable and significant. I got kind of jealous with some other friends where I wasn't invited, then I was invited. And I realized that part of relationships changing and part of you changing is acceptance and going, you know what, reason to season the time, whatever that phrase is. And I was like, you know, these friendships are allowed to shift and change. I'm allowed to shift and change. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to take that time for myself and go, I really would like to be with these people because I haven't seen them, but it's okay if I'm not, right?
Yeah.
I'll see them when I can see them. But what's more important is how I feel about it and figuring out how to either let that go or speak to those people specifically. So I had a really big kind of Zen revelation about myself. And I was like, you know, I think honoring my frustration, honoring kind of the jealousy or the envy is really difficult, but it's also good. It's also good to get, because once you let that shit in and you actually feel it, you can release it, you know? And so there was like this great acceptance over the weekend. And it allowed me to have such a good time, you know? So acceptance
I'm so proud of you. Cause you know, you reached out to me, and this is class. We talk about this a lot on the pod, that like, one of the things I love about you is you are such a good friend. You do show up for everybody. Like somebody says, hey, I need help moving a dresser. You're like, all right, I'm putting my tennis shoes on. I'm coming. But the thing that we talked about in the artist way that I'm, you know, a big proponent of is it's okay to put yourself first. And it's okay to go like, hey, I would love to help you. I would love to show up right now, but I have to get this stuff done. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's like, you're not being selfish. You're just like prioritizing your time, and your real friends will know like, okay, not a big deal. I'll see you the next time. Right. Like there will be more parties. There will be more hangs. There will be more holidays where we can spend time together. And so I knew you were nervous about it, but you know, what was really sweet to me is I was like, as I was listening to your voice note, I was like, oh, he knows the answer. He just like wants permission to say like, yeah, you're totally allowed to be like, I got to just stay in and work. And then you still got out and had a good time.
I still got out and was able to have balance, as you said, you know, when we were texting about it. But the part about like being a good friend or wanting to spend time, I really like my alone time. I love being alone. I need to recharge my battery by being the only person breathing in the room. Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the older I get, the more I realize how much I need people, how much I do need to get out. Right.
Yeah.
Because you and I work so much and we are connected. Everyone's connected to class to a lot of people. There is so much output and like conversation and talking and performing. I'm a performer too. So it's a lot of people involved. Right. But I'm realizing I feel a responsibility to people, and it's not congruent with how I actually recharge. You know? And so finding a way to go, oh, it's okay. Again, acceptance. It's okay to not show up at that thing. It's okay to say,
the world's not going to end.
Not only that, to say like, I don't want to do that thing, have a good time, and then have FOMO for not doing that thing, because that's part of the pain. That's the pain point. The pain point is, no, I know you want to, but you need to sit at home and sit on this couch and read a book. You know, so mine was to me about acceptance. I'm still in process. I'm still in process. I'm still trying to get clear. Thank you, Pages. We're doing the artist way. I'm still trying to get clear about what that means for me. But it was a nice kind of way to arrive over the weekend for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh,
and thank
I'm
you for
really
being a
proud
part
of
of it.
you.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
What about you? What was your glow up?
All right. Well, my glow up is actually related to the comment from the class that we talked about. I wanted to highlight this University of Tennessee former assistant professor, Tamar Shirian, who was fired by the University of Tennessee over her Charlie Kirk remarks. She has won a $1.9 million settlement from the university.
You shut your mouth.
So a few days, class, after Charlie Kirk was killed last year, September 12th, she made a comment on a Facebook post from a friend on a private Facebook that said something to the effect of, "The world is better without Charlie Kirk." and a high paying, a high contributing donor to the university demanded that she be fired after a screenshot circulated of this Facebook comment on social media and went viral. And they did indeed fire her. And so she filed this lawsuit and she said, listen, y'all violated my right to free speech by firing me over comments that I made on a private Facebook page. I was not speaking on behalf of the university.
Right.
I was speaking on behalf of myself. And they went ahead and settled for a cool 1.9 million. Now she is not getting her job back.
Right.
I wouldn't want to go back.
No. No.
I mean, it kind of would be amazing if she was like, hey, y'all, hey, June, how you doing, girl? It's been a minute.
Right.
But she is going to take that $1.9 million and be about her happy way. And again, to go back to that email from the classmate, if they treat you wrong, there is a legal course of action that you can take. And I assure you, she had her documentation in a row to say, no, you're not about to fire me over something I said on a private Facebook page that, again, she is entitled to her opinion, right? Like she didn't say, go kill other people. And she didn't say that, something in the name of the university. She wasn't speaking on the university's behalf. I'm curious about who screenshotted that and shared it, and if they can be held liable as well.
I hate to play whataboutism, but we've talked about this on the podcast. It's just, it like all falls so flat when Donald Trump is saying Rob Reiner should have died. Rob Reiner, or what, insert whatever truth or tweet or whatever he calls them over on that side of the fucking planet.
Yeah.
The idea that this man says what he says and calls, reporters doing their job idiots and hateful women. And Piggy, it's crazy to me. You have no leg to stand on. And I will say, I do understand that, yes, someone has to have the moral high ground. We can't all go down into the sewer, but you're firing people over here for, again, free speech that, like you said, on private accounts. Like, that's nuts to me. The other thing is I think I talked about a marine biologist in Florida who was also fired for her Charlie
There were
Kirk.
like 600 people nationwide that were fired or suspended or disciplined over these posts.
She also got a payout. I think it was like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
As she should.
And she would rather have her job, I remember her saying that. But I'm just glad that these people are getting some kind of recompense for the unlawful treatment that they got based on their free speech. It's a violation of their rights,
Well, I think it's ironic because Charlie Kirk was such a free speech absolutionist, and he said all sorts of nasty things about George Floyd after he was murdered and, calling him a degenerate and who cares about him. And, even saying that MLK was terrible and we shouldn't celebrate him. I mean, he said all sorts of horrible things. Doesn't mean that I believe that he should have been murdered for them, but he was allowed to say whatever he wanted without consequence.
Right.
And similarly, this woman is allowed to say, oh, a racist died? No skin off my nose.
Right.
And she's allowed to feel that way. And I think to your point, Delon, it is not uncommon for universities to have codes of conduct 100%. When it comes to how their staff talks about certain things. And I think that that's totally reasonable. On a private account where she's speaking for herself, I think that that's different. It would be different if she had been on a press conference or speaking to a news agency and she said, I work for University of Tennessee. Let me say something, she didn't do that. She was conversing with a friend that just happened to be on a public platform. Yeah. And I don't believe she should have lost her job over it.
Yeah, girl, spend that money wisely. I hope you get you a nice house, take you some trips. I hope really
you invest some of it because,
in this economy,
I've never had $1.9 million, but, I feel like we always hear about football players and new celebrities who get a big paycheck and then they spend it all and they're like, oh shit, where did it go? It's like, put some of it aside so that you...
Do you know, and you probably don't, in the settlement, did the University of Tennessee admit to any wrongdoing, or did anybody admit to any wrongdoing? That's probably part of the settlement.
I think that that's part of the settlement. It from what I have in my notes, I didn't have anything about that. The article that I saw just had a statement from her lawyer that said something to the effect of, I mean, the lawyer statements are always so funny because it's like, I'm so glad that we came to an agreement. Of course you're glad, you getting the cut. But it was just like, we had a great conversation and we've decided to move forward and we're going to put this behind us. And that is, it's a very like, this is all fine and dandy. Yeah. And to your point, I think that that's probably part of the settlement, that they're not allowed to say anything about each other. There's usually some sort of agreement as to how they're allowed to talk about each other, how they're allowed to talk about the events that transpired, if they're allowed to talk about it. Again, speaking from experience, I know sometimes the agreement says you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about who it was. You're not allowed to talk about what happened. And so clearly there was some stipulation about an announcement that included the amount, because sometimes you'll see these settlements and they'll say they settled for an undisclosed amount. Mm-hmm. That's usually because they've agreed we're not gonna say how much it is, and part of it is also like you can't then go run to TMZ and be like, let me tell you, how much money
story, right?
You can't then turn around and write a book. You will take your money and go, and that's the end of it. Yeah.
Wow, I'm so happy for her. Class, if you know of any other stories where people got fired for their talking about Charlie Kirk or anything, please let us know, because I would love to track these. You said there were 600 people. That's a lot of fucking people that were for their free speech rights.
Fired, suspended, or otherwise disciplined. There were some people that were forced to take a leave of absence or forced to post a public apology. And then there were a number of people that were fired. Listen, Delon, they were trying to come for me. Remember, I was like, I don't have a job at the time. They were like, we're calling her boss. And I was like, joke's on you.
I'm a freelancer. Nuts. Yeah, class, let us know. And thank you for being here. We got the time in today. Let me tell you.
We sure did. Class, we love hearing from you. You can go ahead and email us, lemmefixitpod@gmail.com with a tagline, or ask for some advice, or send us a secret, or you can hit us up over on Instagram @fixitpod if there is a TV show, a celebrity, or a news story that you would like for us to cover here on the pod.
And if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for being here. Hit that subscribe button if you've just stumbled upon us. Then hit that notification bell so that you know when the episodes drop. They drop every Wednesday. There's a lovely chat that happens at 12 p.m. PST or 3 p.m. EST. Fran's really active on a chat, and we'd love to have you. Thank you again for being here. I'm Delon.
I'm Francesca, and this was Lemme.